Oh boy. Whew. Whew, whew. What a day to be a New Jersey Devils fan, my friends. Things are happening, and by things I mean stranger things, perhaps. Can someone just verify in the chat that the sound's working, please? Oh boy, what a day. What a day. Thanks a lot, keeping up. Whew. This is getting taxing, guys. So I'm now counting down the days till the season's over. Oh, welcome back, Devils fans. It is your host, Ace, here on Running with the Devils, where we are talking New Jersey Devils hockey all year long. Please hit that subscribe button, smash the like, share with a friend. Thank you very much. And the first move of Tom Fitzgerald's trade deadline week is here. We read the headline from the Devils earlier today. Devils acquire LaChance. The New Jersey Devils announced today the team has acquired forward Shane LaChance from Edmonton for facilitating an existing trade between the Edmonton Oilers and Boston Bruins for Trent Frederick. The announcement was made by President General Manager Tom Fitzgerald. To receive LaChance, New Jersey trades the rights to unsigned draft choice forward Peter Hauser and have agreed to retain 50% of all future obligations to Frederick's contract for the 24-25 season. Blah, 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 blah. Obviously not the move any of us were hoping or looking for here. And I'm not going to completely slam it as of yet. On the surface, much ado about nothing, in my opinion. Now, when I first saw it, I was furious. The main reason I'm furious, I'll let you guys know, is because Trent Frederick is a guy that I thought would have really helped this team down the stretch and into the playoffs. And if you recall, we played banker, if you will, retaining some money last year in a very similar deal that facilitated Tanev to the Dallas Stars. And so for the second year in a row, I see this. And when it comes across on my phone, I'm looking at it and I'm like, how are we once again taking on using cap space to facilitate a trade for a guy that we should have been in on to go somewhere else? I was furious. When I saw it, I almost spiked my phone like a football. I almost did a Gronk spike. I saw it and I'm like, are you kidding me? And when I first saw it, I got faked out. When I just scanned it real quick, I'm thinking, oh my God, yes, we got Frederick. Way to go, Fitz. And then reality sets in a couple seconds later, and I said, you've got to be kidding me. We're playing banker once again to send a guy we should have been targeting the whole time to send him somewhere else. Now, in a vacuum, I do like LaChance. He's at BU under former New Jersey Devil and two-time Cup champion Jay Pandolfo, and a teammate of our boy, Mikhail Yegorov. I think he could be a good player, but big body, 6'5". I think he's almost 220. So in a vacuum, do I like getting LaChance? Yeah, sure, right? But again, not a move that's helping us today. And so how are we focusing on future pieces? And it just smells like one of those the future is bright moves. And I am not interested. Great. I'm so glad the future is bright, but the right now must also be bright. And this team is drowning. Our best offensive talent just went down in Jack Hughes. We have no idea what's happening with him going to Colorado to get evaluated again. And so, we're all holding our collective breaths, hoping that he could be back for the playoffs. And if the Devils can somehow find a way to get into the playoffs, that he could come back. But we don't know. His season could be over. But regardless, with or without Jack Hughes, this team needed improvements. And we cannot punt on the season. You guys know how I feel about that. We did it last year, a wasted season of this core. I was furious about that. And now you're looking at potentially doing the same thing in the second year now. It cannot happen. It should not happen. But again, before I go really crazy, I'm hoping there is some larger plan at work. And again, we have a little under 72 hours, I guess, like 69 hours or something until the trade deadline Friday. And so it's a nothing move, in my opinion, at least for now, right? So I'm going to reserve judgment until Friday. A lot of people are speculating, Fitz is trying to use cap space so that he could get into the LTIR money if Jack gets put on LTIR. I honestly don't think it's that. I mean, if that was the case, I'd be ecstatic, which would mean we'd be getting a substantial player at some point before the deadline. I'm not counting on that happening. I don't think it will. But we're going to wait and see, right? But a lot of the media people are reporting, Tom Fitzgerald and the Devils are still buying. So I'm going to wait. I'm just sitting here biting my tongue and waiting for what hopefully are substantial moves, or not even substantial, just meaningful hockey trades to make the team better today, to help the guys that are in the locker room in Dallas tonight, to help those guys get to the playoffs. And they are owed that. You cannot punt on a season because Jack Hughes got hurt. There's 20 some odd other guys in that locker room that you're potentially looking at wasting a precious year of their careers. Call it for what it is. This is their career. This is their livelihood. This is what they dreamed about since they were kids. A lot of them, or all of them, essentially, outside of Palat and I guess Cotter, looking to win a Stanley Cup. And this season started off so promising. To now sit there and do nothing is unacceptable. And so that's kind of my statement on the trade of the day. But it is frustrating to see us involved in playing banker again on a guy like Frederick that I think a lot of us would have loved to have on this team. But it is what it is. Still 3 more days till the deadline, and let's just wait and see. I am not optimistic after seeing that as our first trade, but I'm hoping for the best. We will know in less than 72 hours. But not exactly encouraging for your boy Ace. And then we get to, what will the lines be like tonight in Dallas without our boy number 86, Jack Hughes? And it looks like Sheldon Keefe is going for it, guys. Sheldon Keefe is going for it. He says, you know what? We were already a 2-line team. Let's just throw them all on the top line. We are now going to be a 1-line team, but I'm going to give you the best 1 line that I can make with the sorry-ass roster that I have. Timomeier, nicohischier, Jesper Bratt is your top line for the New Jersey Devils tonight in Dallas, followed up by a second line of Palat, Mercer, Tatar. Third line, Dowling, Hall, and Nason. And a fourth line, Cotter, Lazar, Bastian. Defensive pairings, the same: Hughes and Hamilton, Pesci, Kovacevic, Nemitz and Dillon, and Jacob Markstrom back in the net. And when I look at the lines at this point, I have no severe complaints other than, oh my God, look how bad this team looks on paper without Jack Hughes. When you see these lines, my only initial thoughts were, get Cotter off the fourth line and put him either on the left wing with Halla and Nason again, or potentially give him a look on the second line with Mercer and Tatar. And who knows, maybe we'll see some kind of shuffling throughout the game by Sheldon Keefe. But to start the game, he's putting all the firepower on line 1. He's like, you know what? This gives me the best chance. we just went from a 2-line team to a 1-line team. So here's my best line. Timo, Nico, Bratt. And it would be some miracle. It would be some absolute miracle if they're able to pull off the win tonight, but I'm hoping somehow they respond. Teams have kind of elevated their game when one of their best players go down. It doesn't always happen, but there are plenty of cases of it, throughout the years of the league where a guy goes down and the team kind of rallies. With that being said, though, it's hard for me to say with a straight face that I believe this group is going to kind of respond in a similar fashion, just because we've been struggling so hard with Jack Hughes in the lineup. And obviously the main issue for this Devils club is goal scoring, right? Last year, we're all like, we need a goalie, get us a goalie. Obviously Fitz did not. We punt the season, but a team that had no trouble scoring goals last year, we're losing 6-5 games and 5-4. We're just like, get us a goalie and we could be a decent team, or at least claw into the playoffs. And this year, Fitz gets a goalie in the offseason, and now these guys can't score to save their lives. Jacob Markstrom had a solid night the other night, and he's been solid all season, but it's going to be impossible for any of our goalies to win a game if we do not score a goal. And that is kind of where we're at right now. Goals are at a premium. The offense has run Sahara Desert dry, and they're going to have to find a way to score some tonight in Dallas. But my God, what a day to be a Devils fan, to see that LaChance news, then to see those lines and just have reality set in that we might be without Jack Hughes. And for the rest of the season, potentially, we're going to be waiting for that news to come out, but I don't think it's going to probably happen for a while. And I'm just kind of at a low point, guys. Kind of at a low point, hoping somehow they could come up with a big 2 points tonight and kind of give me a little boost, give themselves a little boost. And now we go to the comments. You guys have been chatting in here for a while. I scanned some of it, but wow, nothing like a very bizarre trade to send the chat into a frenzy. Scrolling here. I'm trying to get to. Some of you guys want blood. Jeff says, no moves by Friday. Fire Booze Face. Go Boro says, won't be long until Nelson goes for cheap also. I would like Nelson, but I just don't realistically what they're going to get and trade from if the Islanders do decide to move on from him. I'm not so convinced that the Islanders will move him. I do think there's a chance they try to keep him, but if he's on the move, I would love to take a crack at trying to get him. There's tons of guys I've been saying for weeks that could help this team. If you look at the bottom six and you look around the league at what guys might become available, there's no shortage of guys to upgrade the bottom six. If we're being honest, the bar is pretty low. I mean, if you look at the point totals and what almost non-existent offensive production we're getting from the bottom six, it wouldn't take a whole lot to represent an upgrade. I mean, that's just being real. Michael Miranda, thank you for the super chat, sir. We had Toffoli last season. He helped in the scoring. We had a caliber player like him as a win now move. Thank you for the super chat, Michael. I completely agree. Getting a guy like him is a win now move, but in reality, it doesn't even have to be a Toffoli. There's so many guys that would be an upgrade over what we have right now and what we're putting out. Like, again, I hate to pick on the guy, but like Dowling is basically a career AHLer for the most part, and he's now and he's not even playing his natural position. He's now the third line left winger, not even playing center anymore. He's stuck around all year, and listen, has he filled in admirably? And there's not too many times where you watch the game and you're like, oh my God, what the hell was Dowling doing? So in that regard, he's not like messing up. But, again, you need more than just not messing up. We need production in the bottom six desperately, and we're not getting it. And you just look at, Dowling's been here all year. Obviously, Mercer now back to center after playing winger for a while just because we're so thin at center and Jack Hughes is injured. But it's all a mess. Obviously, we'd love to have Toffoli's goal scoring on this team, but we couldn't afford to pay him $6 million to stick around. It's just been what a season. But thank you for the super, Michael. Hopefully, we see win now moves, and they don't even have to be necessarily big name players for me to get excited about it, because, like I said, it doesn't take much for an improvement over what we've got. Scanning here. Ace hates all of my names. So we just lost $575K in cap space in a three-way trade where we had Frederick for 11 seconds. He's gone, but that 575 hit remains. Essentially, we, paid to upgrade from Hauser to LaChance. Listen, and in a vacuum, do I like that? Sure. I think LaChance has potential, big body, but those are all future is bright moves. I'm done with the future is bright. The future is right now. And what the hell are you getting this team to help them hold on to their playoff spot until hopefully number 86 can return in the playoffs? Hopefully that's the case. Man, we're not. It's just the weight is killing me to hear that news as well. Dire Straits, Jay Hughes is injury prone. Woodson was right about him all along. This has become a major issue. I mean, listen, he's never played 82 games, guys. Is it really a shocking thing that he got hurt again? If I'm being honest, I'm going to say it's not surprising to me. It's super unfortunate, but it shouldn't come as a surprise. He's never played 82 games, and this is another season where he will not play 82 games. And the reality is he probably will never play 82 games. I mean, wow. These are from way before the all of these chats were from way before the thing actually started. You guys have been chatting here all day. Go Boro, I really need a Marchand or Besser on Friday without ouchies to feel better, but that's unrealistic, unwise. I would love Marchand. I don't think he's going to get traded, but I think he's the type of guy and the type of attitude that this team kind of needs to develop. People have been telling me, oh, that you're giving this fake narrative that the team is too soft, this and that. There's nothing I've seen that tells me it's a fake narrative. That is my opinion. That is my thought. I think this team is still super soft. If you watch the game, our guys get smacked around regularly. We're constantly getting pushed to the ice, bowled over, and it's a problem. But Go Boro, thank you for the super chat, sir. Bucks for ace because we all need the booze. Oh, there's going to be a lot of booze tonight. It's a little too early for me to start right now because I'll be super tired by the time we get to the post-game live. Either that or I'll end up being crumpled and I'll be talking nonsense. So I'm fueling up with my iced coffee creation here until then. We're still, an hour and a half, about an hour and 13 minutes from the pregame. But thanks for the super chat, Go Boro. I think there's going to be a lot of booze consumed by myself and probably many of you over the course of the next 3 days. Keeping Up with the Devil says the demand is just too high, too many buyers, not enough sellers. Again, I'm not accepting that as an excuse. When you decide to ignore holes and areas that the team needs help in, you run the risk of waiting until the deadline where it could be a seller's market. And it seems like this year is going to play out like one of those years because of the amount of teams that are in the wild card hunt around the league. Lots of teams are going to be holding on to hope and will either buy or do nothing, but they're not going to sell off every guy they have while they're trying to make the playoffs. And that could be, one of the factors driving up the price on some of these guys. But I'm not buying it. It's not an acceptable excuse. Buyer's market, seller's market, whatever it is, the team has holes. You must address them. We must make the playoffs. Anything short of that is completely unacceptable and should be grounds for termination. Completely grounds for termination. Ryan, Fitz waiting too long. WTF. Trent and Evans gone. Yeah, two guys that we all would have liked. Evans re-signed with Montreal today, so obviously he is not going anywhere. He is staying with the Canadians. And another target off the board. Stanley 62495. The bald fraud is too busy using his cap space to finalize trades for other teams. Fire this now. Again, I'm hoping it's part of a bigger plan. I certainly am not convinced that it is, but I suppose that it could be. And that's why I'm just sitting tight and waiting to see where this all lands us when the deadline actually comes on Friday. It's taken a lot of strength for me not to completely blow up. I said in a vacuum, do I like the LaChance move? Sure, but that's not what we're looking for right now. We are struggling for our playoff lives. We need reinforcements. We need them now, and future moves are not going to excite anyone. No one is looking for future moves. Everyone is looking for how are you going to help this team now for this last, I think it's 20 games, right? The final 20 games of the New Jersey Devils season. How are you going to help this team on the ice right now? You owe it to all these guys. The fans are owed it. Missing the playoffs for a second consecutive season after the record-setting 2022-2023 season is unforgivable. Unforgivable in every way possible. It cannot happen. It should not happen, and moves got to be made. Jeff says no moves by Friday. Fire Booze face. I think I pulled that one up already. Husky Unchained. Obviously not what we want or care about right now, but I'm liking the LaChance deal. Yeah, I agree, but it's not, great. Throw it to the side. What are you doing for the team today? What are you doing for the team today? Michael Miranda, the move made today is not a win now move. 100% not. Stanley, it's a move made by a third-rate organization. Listen, I'm waiting. If that ends up being one of the only moves, then I'm going to be out here calling for heads like a lot of you. But I've always said from the beginning, I'm waiting till the final, till it's all done. Wait till Friday at the deadline, and we'll see where we're at. I'm hoping some, moves that actually matter happen between now and then. Go Boro. Though if I was Nashville, I'd maybe ask about Mercer. There's plenty of pieces on Nashville I'd love to have, including O'Reilly. Who knows? Stanley, I am legit beside myself knowing that the imbecile GM is wasting his cap space. However, I then remember that he's a certified moron who never deserved the job in the first place. Man, Stanley wants blood. Stanley's out there looking for blood. Listen, Stanley, I'm going to be right there with you on Friday if nothing happens, but there's still 3 days. So I'm just sitting back and waiting and hoping I'm hoping and wishing right now. That's all I could do. All your boy Ace could do is hope and wish and wait to see how it plays out. RJ says, Ace, I'm drinking in preparation. Alan, I heard we were getting Sidney Crosby because any player would love to come to this nightmare. Oh, boy. Brendan, y'all celebrating Pancake Tuesday. What the hell is Pancake Tuesday? Is that a thing? Is Pancake Tuesday a thing? I'm going to have to look this up now. What is Pancake Tuesday? I did have some delicious pancakes on Sunday, though. Chocolate chip pancakes were phenomenal. It's like pancake day, I guess. I've never heard of this. What's it, Toya? What's up, Ace? What's going on? Brendan Play says crepes tonight. Crepes are very good. I'm a big crepe fan. I don't have them too often, but I do like all kinds of crepes. I like the ones with the meat. I like the sweet kind. You go both ways with the crepes. You get the, like the real food version, or you can get like the snack food kind of version, the dessert crepes. All crepes are great crepes. Antonino, I don't know why he would give us 500K cap space. Looks like a towel throw-in. It may or may not. Again, we're gonna know in 3 days, guys. Less than 3 days, the verdict will be out. The report card will be here. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, and we're gonna see what it really is. So I'm not looking too much into it. Obviously, forgot to mention that LaChance's father is the head of scouting for the Devils, which is kind of funny. And there, what Jeff says, "Welcome aboard, Nepo baby, boo boo." But it seems like he's a promising prospect. Again, I don't mind the move. It's just the timing of when it comes out. It's like, it's not what we're all looking for right now. We're looking for something to help the NHL club today. Today, sir. John, NJ Devils 45. Let's go, Devils. Spirit in the sky. Hi, Ace. Thanks for the dedication. John Mick. Not the move I was looking for. It wasn't the move anyone was looking for, John. We sit here and wait to see if we make a real move, but that's all we got for right now. Van Walen, not a good move. Go Boro. We got slapped by Edmonton, Boston for a Nepo hire. I think the kid could be a good prospect, so I'm trying not to be super negative about it. It's just, the only thing that's bringing out the negativity in me is because we're all looking for real moves to help this team right now, and this is a total future thing. Van Walen, Rangers looking to move Riley Smith. Go for it, Fitz. Antonino, Fitzy should just go work at JP Morgan, the banker. Man. Jeter Toker, they're waiting on the results on Jack, which is bullshit. They already know. They probably have an idea, but I don't think they know definitively. But we should be getting that announcement soon as well. John says, God, I miss Lou Lamoriello. I think a lot of us do. I mean, he's obviously not the GM he was during our glory days now, but primetime Lou Lamoriello had the pulse of his team at all times, whether it was, firing coaches that he thought weren't the right answer for the group that he had, or filling holes in the roster, or bringing in guys to kind of push us over the top. No better in-season GM than Lou Lamoriello. And it seems like Fitz might be an off-season GM. I thought his off-season this past summer was great, but the real report card comes in season after you've played a bunch of games. What will you do to improve your roster heading into the playoffs? And so far, he has not shown the ability to be effective in that role, which matters more so than anything else, in my opinion. And here we are now waiting 72 hours to the deadline to see if he's going to do something to help this season, help this team out. Go Boro, and wasting a season of Markstrom too. Yeah, Markstrom signed for this year and next year. When we got him, I was excited because I said, this is a win now move. We must follow it up with a series of win now moves. This guy wants to win a cup. He's been playing his ass off for the Devils. That injury was unfortunate. He came back, and he played a pretty damn good game in his first game back from injury. And what did we do to reward his efforts? We get shut out. This is like a horror movie. You can't even make this stuff up. Keep it up with the Devils. Markstrom can steal a few, and we could make the playoffs still. I think we're going to need that to happen for us to make the playoffs. Again, we were struggling to score goals with Jack Hughes in the lineup. Maybe somehow this team responds and they, rally for Jack, and they figure it out in his absence. I'm not super optimistic that that's what's going to happen, but I think that's all we could hope for. And maybe this top line of Bratter with Timo and Nico could really start doing some damage. It'd be nice to see, but we need to figure out a way to score at least 2 goals a game and give Markstrom a chance to only let up 1 and get us the win. Obviously, tonight, the keys to the game for the New Jersey Devils, in my opinion, tonight is find a way to draw penalties and score some friggin' power play goals. Devils were, I think, 0 for 2 last game on the power play, and a power play that's still ranked towards the top of the league because of how hot they started off. But the power play, like the rest of the team, runs super hot and cold, where they go through stretches of sucking on the power play, and then they'll have a night where they go 3 for 4. Okay, they're 0 for 1 last game. draw penalties and capitalize on the power play. I think that is the best strategy this Devils team, this Jack Hughes-less Devils team could do. Draw penalties and try to make them pay for it, when we're on the power play. Rabid monkeypox. Well, it looks like this is another wasted season and going for rebuild pieces. I wouldn't say that that's what's happening just yet. I'm still holding out hope that he makes meaningful moves. This may have presented itself, for whatever reason, where they could bring the scouts kid in and have a big body in the future pool. But I'm done with the future pool. We got to look at what are we doing to win now? What's it, Toya? Fitz needs to do his part to motivate the team in some way. Give them at least an impression you think the postseason is more than just a first-round exit. I agree with that. Midnight Mike Show. It's hard to see the Devils doing anything in the playoffs. They just have a hard time beating good teams or winning 2 in a row. I hope I'm wrong. I mean, it's a fair point, but my at this point, my outlook is just make the damn playoffs and hope we could go on a magical run. The 1995 New Jersey Devils were a low seed. I think they were the 6th or 5th seed. Going into the playoffs, started every series on the road and found a way to get to the Cup Finals and then beat the mighty Detroit Red Wings. And not only beat them, sweep them. Obviously, that was a different team comprised of some absolute legends, and I'm not going to say this team remotely even resembles them, but the point remains that teams could kind of come out of nowhere if they get hot at the right time, if they get solid goaltending, and I feel like, especially if Jack Hughes is able to play in the playoffs, if this team could get their shit together and kind of find their groove at the right time with Markey, Strong, and net, you never know what could happen. That's why you just got to get to the playoffs. I think not making the playoffs for the second straight year would be demoralizing to the psyche, a fragile psyche, I believe, of this team. And that's why I thought last year was a squandered opportunity and why I said I believed it truly was psychologically damaging to the team to not make the playoffs after having the franchise record-setting season the year before. To not make the playoffs is just no good. Absolutely no good. Stanley 62495, The Never-Ending Rebuild by Tom Boozeface Fitzgerald. John says we need a miracle right now. Stanislav, I'm an optimistic person, but have a really bad feeling about the season. I think we all do, but we got to just win some of these games, man. Just win and get into the playoffs. Just win and get into the playoffs. Fentanyl Floyd, by what, though? We don't have the assets to pull off a significant trade. I agree, but there could be one significant trade. We do have 3 second-round picks. People have been talking about Mercer forever. I mean, if you're going to offer him up in a deal. And then obviously Shimo Nemitz or Seamus Casey have some value. And then we also do have next year's first rounder. So if you're talking about all the pieces in the cupboard, if they're all kind of on the table to be dealt or could be dealt, you could get a significant player in return with a combination of those pieces, in my opinion. But I don't think Fitz is going to look to trade next year's first. I do think he wants to hold on to that for next year, but we'll see. Maybe something comes along where he's like, you know what, it's worth dealing it now. Winnie, so annoyed with retaining on a player we could have used when we have limited cap space. Seems like another throwaway season since that was the move last year too. I certainly hope not. Certainly hope not. Husky and Chains is not a fan of Dowling over Cotter. Yeah, again, maybe we'll see some shuffling in game, but I do think Cotter, we got to get him out there as much as possible, especially now. You saw the hands, you saw the finish. Give him some more ice time. It's not like anyone else is producing out there. James Israel, loved the first line, got a stack at this point. Fentanyl Floyd, this team has 3 fourth lines. Yeah, there's, I can't say you're wrong. What's it, Toya? Mercer has a chance now to make a name for himself at center. He better bust his ass this game. I have to believe, there's a reason why he wasn't playing center for all that time that he's been in the league. Outside of anything, they tried him out early on and they pushed him off to the wing. Who knows? Maybe this time around he looks much better and ends up being the guy that a lot of us wanted him to be. I don't know. But there's going to be opportunity for some guys to really step up. And I'm looking at my man Timomeier has to have the March of Meyer. He's got to go on an absolute tear right now. Keeping up with the Devils, at least Meyer gets power play now. You would think. You would think. I wouldn't be shocked by anything. Imagine the game starts and he's not out there on power play 1. I'll smash my TV. Rob Wilson, the season is over. Why the hell are we eating salaries? They like the move. They like the prospect, the son of the head scout. And again, in a vacuum, I don't hate it. It's just not a win now move. Like, what are we talking about? It's the timing of it coming out bothered me a little bit, but I'm waiting to see. We have 3 days. 3 days left. Spirit in the Sky is a Jets fan. I know what suffering is all about. Devils have been rebuilding for 10 years enough already. I am right with you. And the rest of the fans that have seen good teams and witnessed Stanley Cups and all that, I think they're more aggravated than some of the newer fans. The newer fans think this is par for the course, and it does seem like a lot of them as a whole have been like brainwashed to some extent. When I see some of the comments online, I get disgusted. And I do have a hilarious text exchange with my buddy Steve the Maniac, who I've been trying to get back on the program. He keeps blowing me off, but he's got a lot of rage right now. He's furious. Go Boro, hoping they respond has been the catchphrase of our team in like an airline customer service, maybe 2 weeks too late after we're broke. Man. Devs fan Josh, Pierre LeBrun just posted a video saying that Fitz was on the phone with Carolina inquiring about the Canes. What? And that the severity of Jack Hughes' injury will determine what Fitzy does. I mean, it really shouldn't make that much of a difference. Like, what, if Jack's out, what does that mean? And when I hear that, it makes me think that the punt could be coming. It's not like, oh, Jack's out, I better go make a big splash. I can't see that being the case. We're going to find out. Stanley 62495, Keith hates his life right about now, no doubt about it. Family in another country, and his boss is a stooge. He's been asking to, he's been tasked with really making miracles out of a flawed roster. And as the season goes on, unfortunately, it's kind of reared its ugly head, where we see the deficiencies, really. And it's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate. Stanley 62495, Mercer once scored 27 goals. That player no longer exists. I think he's buried under. He's still there deep down inside. Can he kind of reappear or reemerge? Maybe not. But like I've said, when people dogged him, he does do a lot of things that not many guys can do. You can put him out there in any scenario. Is he lighting up the score sheet and some dominant forward? No, but not many guys in the league can kill a penalty, play power play, be trusted in tight games down the stretch. But if he could be upgraded, I'd be for it. Obviously, I'm not dead set on keeping him. I just think people have an unrealistic kind of expectation of him because of that season he had a couple years ago. Roland 95 Ace, it's very hard to take Fitzgerald seriously when he's focusing his attention on retaining salary to help other contenders just to acquire one of his coworkers' son in a trade. I get it. The optics on it aren't very good. I totally get it, but let's wait and see. I'm waiting until Friday. There's 3 days left. We will find out how it goes. Amagi, I'm going to pray my new Jack Foco bobblehead. I'll pray to my new Jack Foco bobblehead, and maybe he'll get better soon. Which one did you get, Amagi? It seems like they're releasing them all the time. Spirit in the Sky, as long as the organization is making money, they don't care. This is my biggest fear. Even with the team struggling, in the end, they will be profitable, and I am really hoping that the owners actually care about winning, and in my opinion, the signs are there that they do not. Again, I'd love to be proven wrong somehow, but so far, I think I don't know if I'd call it overwhelming evidence, but there's several pieces of critical evidence that would suggest that they do not. Fentanyl Floyd, the roster is so bare, it's not going to get fixed on Friday. I've maintained all along that they're not going to fix all the problems by Friday, but it'd be nice to at least fix some of them, get as much help as you possibly can get, and then obviously look to fix the rest of the calamity roster that he's built in the offseason. And it's not, it all can't be revamped in season. Totally makes sense, but that doesn't mean you do nothing. Doing nothing is not an option. Devs fan Josh, Pierre LeBrun posted a video worth checking out. I made a typo in my previous comment, so I removed it. Basically, the Devils were on the phone with the Canes about Rantanen. Oh my God. I can't see that. Is that realistic? It's pretty wild. Antonino, LeBrun said news doesn't seem good about Hughes. He just tweeted. I mean, what a shocker there, right? I mean, wow. I'm stunned. James, Ace, I want to slap the glasses off of Fitz. Stupid head. Man, you guys are getting charged up. I can't. Oh, man. Michael Hallinan should get a look at McGarry. Yeah, two guys. Probably if I had to pick two guys in Utica that have the most potential, or I thought at least, deserved a longer audition, 100% Nathan McGarry and Brian Hallinan I think they played a couple games each, maybe even one game, and then we just rotating Utica guys through. I don't think, no one was going to come out and take over a game and look phenomenal in the fourth line role. And so I don't think they really got a fair shake, especially when the fourth line is doing nothing. Like, what is the bar? Like I've said, no one's producing. So give some of these young kids an extended look for a couple games and see what they could do. Now, I do think because we're in crunch time, because we're without Jack Hughes, because we desperately need points to hang on to the playoff spot, I think Keefe gets a little gun shy with the young guys. And he's like, I already know what I'm going to get with these other guys. They're a little more experienced. And maybe he's just looking for the bottom six not to have goals scored on them. And then he's going to rely on the top six, or whatever you want to call this new top six, to score the goals. And as long as the bottom six don't get scored on, he might, declare that a victory in his mind. I don't know. I absolutely don't know. John Woodson, unpopular opinion, a winning GM wouldn't be in the Hughes business. Isaiah, what it sounds like if they let us smoke outside. Robert, I called Frederick. We get him, then trade cap space for a prospect. I get he's injured and on an expiration contract, but Edmonton gets him for peanuts. It wasn't exactly peanuts. In the end, Edmonton's paying a pretty good chunk for him. Stanley, last year was your warning that Fitzgerald was incompetent. Cannot be surprised now. Keeping up with the Devils, Palat, Mercer, Tatar. This chat is going to have a field day. Pro Bowl forever. This team needs to move on from Jack Hughes. Can't see that happening. I think they're firmly entrenched in the Hughes business. All right, I got to skip forward because I got very far behind here because I was pulling up some of the comments. What's it, Toya? 10 years sober over here. Ace, cheers to you. I need to come up with the non-alcoholic version of win or lose we booze. I'm still thinking about it. So we'll have two. Rob, this team is limp noodle soft. John Woodson, Seattle has no reason to sell McCann unless it's a deal they can't turn down. Yeah, I'm trying to catch up here. So I fell too far behind because I was pulling up comments from you guys. Apparently, people were blasting off in the chat hours before the live even started. John Mick says, I already told my Devils rep, if Fitz doesn't fix this now, I won't be renewing my season tickets. And that's all you could hope for, that everyone does that. Woodson, y'all are in for a massive disappointment. John Woodson, no Evans, no Frederick. Who's out there to trade for? Donato. What is two bottom six forwards doing for this team? I think it's a step in the right direction. I think it's better than nothing. Rabid monkeypox. Do we think Marty has begun drinking already? If I'm being honest, I don't think Marty cares that much. It's not his ship that's sinking per se. I mean, it is the franchise he played for and that he's with now, but it's not, it's not his team to run into the ground, if you will. And it's not to say that maybe one day it will be. Stanley Ace, you have the patience of a saint. It's admirable. No, I'm pretty fed up, but at this point now, we waited all this time, 3 days away, and then we will see. We will see where we're at. Woodson, Hughes plays pond hockey. This is the NHL. Give me NHL players. Go Boro. If nothing happens on Friday, it's time to RKO. Fits into the garbage buckets opposite the Rock. Man, everybody's down on Jack too. I get it. I mean, but I'm not shocked. Never played 82 games. It is what it is. Brendan, I'm eating my sadness away. Some really yummy crepes with pastry cream, strawberries, and raspberry sorbet. Sounds pretty damn good. Woodson, Jack literally went out of his way this year to avoid contact and still got hurt. Jay Snow, Jack is insanely talented. I want him surrounded by bigger players. But in the end, that's in theory, I want that too. But in the end, when contact is going to be made, this is a contact sport. This is a heavier, edgier, more violent sport. Not getting hit is not an option. And so even if he was surrounded by the biggest players in the league, once he takes the hits, the bumps and the bruises, what does it matter? Surrounding him by the largest guys in the league isn't going to prevent it. Dire Straits, Jack is a talented player, but he's injury prone. It's becoming an elephant in the room that cannot be denied. His shoulder is what Eric Lindros was like with concussions. Can't say you're wrong. Wise discernment. I want to see Nico go beast mode and carry us into the postseason. Listen, him, Timo, Bratter, everyone's going to have to step up. Maybe we can occasionally get a fluke goal from the bottom six would be phenomenal. Maybe somehow by blind luck, they could come up with something, but it's going to have to be an effort from up and down the lineup. Guys are going to have to chip in. and just score 2 goals and let Markstrom have a chance to win the game without having to pitch a shutout. I think Markey is capable in a lot of games of holding the opposition to maybe 1 goal. So if Markey could give up 1 and we could squeak out 2, such a man. What am I even saying right now? Just hoping for complete nonsense. Hoping we could score 2 goals so Markstrom could win a 2-1 game. Pathetic. Dire Straits, I don't know if building muscle will do anything. This is now a reoccurring injury that happens every year. Yeah, I think this particular injury, whether he was jacked up or not, it wouldn't matter. I think it was just going to be, it would have ended the same way. Woodson says Jack needs to put on muscle while on another team. Samuel, Sleepy better wake up soon. Lou is never the same after the cap. Yeah, I think that's the cap. RJ, Ace, is the Devils being bad good for the business? The chat always seems larger during turmoil. No, and this isn't a business. This is my hobby. I want the Devils to be good. I want to be here celebrating with everybody, not sitting here, trying to convince people to put the sharp objects down and step away from the ledge. That's not what I want to be here for. Now I'm stuck here, in this thing now when the team is a disaster to still come on here and do these damn things. And some days it's painful. It's absolutely painful. But I guess, no, I do think in the end there is more people involved when the Devils are good. But you obviously see a surge when they're bad as well. The two extremes, doing very good or doing very bad, will bring people out of the woodwork to either celebrate or people love talking shit too. Misery loves company. And after a lot of bad games, you see the people flying into the chat to rant. But, this is my hobby. I love the New Jersey Devils, and I could care less about anything other than them winning. And would love to see them make the playoffs this year. I mean, I can't believe we're even talking about this at this juncture in the first week of March after where we were at the holiday break. Pathetic. Beachmaster says, how many goalies, coaches, GMs for Jack? Goalies, there's been a ton. Coaches, probably like 4, I guess. We got Hines, Green, Lindy, Keefe. Let me see. Am I forgetting somebody? I could be forgetting somebody. Nazardine, I forgot. So I think it's 1, 2, 3. I think 5 coaches. Tons of goalies. Stanley, Jay Snow, you can make a bust argument. What good are you if you can't stay on the ice? And it's not like he moved the needle in terms of results. He's played on one decent team over 6 seasons. Can't say you're wrong there. I do think he's a great player when he's healthy, but staying healthy is an issue. Spirit in the sky. The future is bright. All you have to do is wait another 10 years. I am done waiting. You guys know how I feel. I am done waiting. Husky Unchained, can't wait for this chat after tonight's game. I love post-apocalyptic shows, must-see TV. Go Boros says Fitz creating more New York Rangers fans than Gretzky right now. Oh boy. Woodson says win and get into the playoffs to get swept so we get that experience that we were completely outclassed. I disagree. I completely disagree, Woodson. You have no faith. For an old school fan, I'm surprised at how much you stroke yourself to the future. And no, I don't work for the ownership group wanting that playoff revenue. I want to go to playoff games, watch them on TV, and I want this young group to get the feeling of going to the playoffs. I'll never concede and say we're going to get swept. With Jacob Markstrom and net, have some faith. Yeah, Blitz Harris ace ownership. I wish I owned the damn team. Man. Steven Engel says, did you see we're in on Rantanen if the Canes sell? First of all, I can't see the Devils getting Rantanen. regardless of where he's coming from. And then I definitely can't see the Canes shipping him to the Devils. I would love to see where this is being reported from. I can't see there being any truth to that. That would be one of the most shocking, probably, situations in Devils history, in my opinion. If the Devils got Rantanen from the Canes, it would be stunning on so many levels. Dire Straits says the more Jack gets injured, the less tradable he is. I don't know why you guys constantly talk about this. If it's not abundantly clear that the ownership group is all in on the Hughes business, they are not trading either one of them. They are here long term. Traveling Devil, do you think there could be more coming with the Oilers in Boston since the Devils are playing middleman? No. I used to think that way. Like, oh, we're doing them a favor because something's going to come back around. I don't think so. LaChance is the head scout's kid. I just think it was one of those things where they got kind of tagged into the deal. They thought it was a good move to use whatever it was, like $575 of cap space, and they did it. I don't think it's an indication of anything to come, unfortunately. Jay Snow says, if this team's sitting home during the playoffs, there needs to be a huge shakeup. I completely agree with that as well. Keeping up the Devils says, Hall is a ghost. Can't hate him if you don't see him. You guys are brutal. Woodson says, punt until 2030. Nick says, we called Carolina and told them we are in if they are shopping Rantanen. There's just no way. I just can't see it whatsoever. Dire Straits, but this is how bad Fitzgerald is at drafting. If he has not drafted Mercer, he'd have gotten a complete bust, and Holtz. Phantom has got to go. Keith got all the good genes in the family. That Holtz pick was terrible. The Stillman pick was terrible. I would love to have Logan Cooley or Shane Wright on this team right now instead of Nemitz, but it is what it is. Woodson says, trade Fitz for Lou. I'll take Lou back even at 100 years old. I think we all would. Keeping Up the Devils says they own the Commanders and Sixers, so they don't care about the Devils. I'm not so convinced they care about either of those teams either. They want the money. Give me the money. Mark says, I'm hoping the other players step it up, realizing that Jack Hughes won't be playing. Again, we hope, but we're gonna find out a lot about this team tonight in the first game in Dallas. First game without Jack Hughes. Let's see what happens. It's time for everybody to dig deep. Woodson says I'd trade an injured Jack for Miko. That's not going to happen. Walt, NJ barely spends anything in this retention deal. 25% prorated, which is pennies, and get LaChance. If he doesn't work out, who cares? Or he becomes a solid bottom six power forward. Not a bad move. I agree in a vacuum, Walt. The problem is we're all sitting here waiting for something to help us now, and then this comes out, and we're like, what? Like, that's not what we were all, looking to hear. And that's why I said I'm reserving judgment until Friday. Let's see what happens by Friday. Mark, so now it's life without Jack Hughes for a while. We supposedly have superior offense, so now it's time to put up or shut up. Well, it wasn't looking that great, when Jack was playing. I'm not expecting it to look great without him, but who knows? Crazier things have happened. John Woodson, what a world it would be to have a center that weighs more than 170. I like my big body centers, Woodson. I would love a big, powerful center. It seems like it's been forever. And obviously this isn't the only move being made, despite Doomers insisting that's all Fitz will do. I agree it's probably not, but I won't be shocked if it is. To say that it's obvious, given the track record, Walt, I can't say it's obvious. I think we're all hopeful, but we will see. Less than 3 days away. Troy Machine, with the rumors, wonder if Fitz ever made Jake Evans an offer. Well, they would have had to make Montreal an offer. They couldn't make an offer to Evans. I'm sure they probably kicked the tires, but obviously, given that he got extended, their preference was to obviously extend him the whole time. I think it was just kind of a cat and mouse game between the organization and his agent, but that's, what their plan was the whole time. Forrest, there's no way anyone steps up because we don't have Hughes. They didn't step up when Nico went down. Fair point, but you never know. All we got is hope. All we got is hope. Woodson says we could get 3 bottom 6 forwards for nothing in the offseason. I'm not trading Nemitz, Mercer, or Casey for 2 hauls. No, neither would I. I'm only trading one of those guys if we're getting like, I think now the bar is kind of around McCann. The bar has been lowered for me. It used to be like, a big time player. Now I'm like, in the right deal, I would probably ship Nemitz for a guy like McCann, in my opinion. But Force, win or lose, it's O'Douls. I like that. Jay Snow, why would we retain when we have no cap space? Well, again, a lot of people are speculating that, it really won't matter if Jack is put on LTIR, and that opens up a lot of money. And so if that's the grand master plan, which, again, I don't think it is, but a lot of people are speculating that. Gem card, Ace the GOAT. Oh, thank you, sir. Beachmasters, this is Jack's 5th coach. I think I counted them at 5. Amagi, just put Jack on LTIR and then have the kid show up for the playoffs, Vegas style, baby. 12 million in LTIR. Go Boro. On another subject, Ace, what's your favorite pasta? Ooh, that's a tough one. Favorite pasta would probably be rigatoni and pappardelle. Probably my 2 favorites, but I've never met a pasta I don't like. But rigatoni and pappardelle definitely stick out as notables. I love tortellini. I love raviolis. I love all of it. I'm just a fat Italian guy that loves all the pasta. Give me all the pasta. I also like gnocchi. I haven't had that in a while, actually. Man, all this talk about food's making me hungry. Rabid Monkeypox, do we think that Jack is a secret agent and him being injured is a cover story? No. We watched him crash into the boards and looked like temporarily lose consciousness. Beachmaster Jack gets a new coach per year. Gem card, LeBron said Devils called on Rantanen, but Canes probably wouldn't send it to us. I didn't think they would either, and I don't know how we would even be the best offer for him. I'd imagine there'd be at least a handful of teams trying to get him if he's on the block, and I can't see the Canes trading him to a division rival. It would just make no sense. Rip Rogers, Smokey Johnson. What are we talking about right now about Jack? He's not getting hurt from hits. The last 2 injuries are from him being tripped as he's driving the net. Shame on all of you. Yeah, I don't think, these injuries were from him not, bulking up or being more solid. While I do think that needs to happen, I do think it's a separate issue. All these other things, I just think he has a problematic shoulder that seems like it's going to kind of follow him around his entire career. Seth, we need a Bobby Holik, Randy McKay type player to this roster. Absolutely. Would love to see it. And I think, JT Miller was kind of in that ilk. And it is what it is, but I would love to see some dogs like that brought onto the team. Woodson says, imagine this chat when we miss the playoffs. Oh, why are you wishing that on us, Woodson? It's going to be terrible. Completely terrible. Ritter Engine, I have a feeling that the troops will rally around Jack's situation. I really hope you're right, Ritter Engine. You might be the first person to say something remotely positive in however long I've been on here for. I really hope that is the case. Woodson said, Casey's size scared me to death, but at least the dude stays on his feet. I love Casey. Love me some Seamus Casey. I didn't let him back. He made a new name. Should I block that one too? Maybe I'll take a poll. Should I block the new name too? Yeah, I didn't unblock him. He just made a new name. He can't stay away. Woodson, this chat will say, but the record-setting regular season said we'd be great. Listen, I've fully admitted it, Woodson. More and more as time goes on. Shame on me. Maybe I was bamboozled. I really did not think that it was a fluke. But as time goes on, I would be foolish not to begin questioning it myself. If we miss the playoffs this year with all of the same core players in place, obviously other pieces were swapped out or whatever, but the main core guys are still here. I won't be able to definitively say that it wasn't a fluke anymore. Ritter Engine Pierre LeBrun says Devils are among the teams that have called Carolina about Mikko Rantanen and said, hey, if you're doing something in terms of flipping him by Friday, let us know. I mean, I think that's probably one of the more delusional phone calls that Fitzgerald ever made. Like, clearly, do you think they're going to send him here? It just doesn't even make sense. Not to mention, what are you even offering for him? Yeah, I don't know. The whole Rantanen thing is very, I think it's a very interesting thing if that's real, honestly. Woodson says, win 3 games straight, and I believe we have a chance in the playoffs. Or score goals 5-on-5 off a cycle. Matthias says, Ace, the answer is in the room. Oh, I mean, listen, I think the current guys in the room are going to have to fix, a lot of this on their own, but they need help from the outside. But it does start with the guys in the room, absolutely. I mean, everyone has to play better and do more, but they also need some help from the outside. Husky Unchained, I was in my 20s for all 3 cups. I'm content and just revel in the drama now. Let's go chat. How are you in your 20s for all 3 cups? That's not even possible. I'm very lost there. Jay Snow, we have too many small, skilled forwards. I've said this for years. Woodson, on paper, our team is made of paper. Samuel, I'll believe if they can win 2 in a row. Seth, Ace, buy the team. I buy you food for life. Oh, man, I totally wish. That would be like, like a movie type of thing. To own the New Jersey Devils. Oh my God. I couldn't even imagine. That would be a phenomenal. And that's why I always liked Mark Cuban. Like, he was a super fan who hit it big with his tech business, and he bought the Mavs, and he was just there. Like, yeah, I would be like a Cuban, but obviously that's, I'm never buying the team, obviously. So, yeah, but there's no point talking about it. Mark, can someone point to the time where shit changed? We were doing so well, then all of a sudden it just dropped. Mark, it all happened, and a lot of people point to that Carolina game, the one where Natchez got his Academy Award for best actor in a hockey game when Timo hit him and he did that crazy dive, and then came back and played like almost the whole power play like seconds after Timo got ejected. That seems like kind of where it all went to hell. Woodson, if Ace owned the team, we all could take draft day off. I'd have some picks, Woodson. I just, probably wouldn't have too many first rounders. Go Boro. So many teams would be in for Rantanen being shopped. Toronto springs to mind. Big Cheese make me, in order to make a trade 2 have to tango from Elliot Friedman. He stated Fitz has been on the phone a lot, but no takers. Well, at some point, effort alone is not going to get it done. The results got to be there. Jason, no, the Devils know Jack is done. They keep acting like they're waiting on images. Beachmaster, serious question. Could Jack's injury be career-ending? I can't see that. I can't see that whatsoever. SJ, the boys seem determined to win for Jack. Let's hope they lock down on defense because scoring goals is going to be like a desert without water at times. Guarantee it. Yeah, I think we know. Michael, McDermott's got to be playing tonight, right? Unfortunately not. Nope. Keefe is not a fan of the rough stuff and the fisticuffs, so he's not in the game. At this point, I'm hoping we see him a couple more times before the end of the season, but it is what it is. Stanley, it's not about the losing. Not every team gets the result you would like, but this is legitimate undermining of the organization. Ownership employing someone as incompetent as Boozeface is criminal. Oh, you guys are brutal. SJ says, without the owners, would we have a team? Who knows? I'm fine with them. I think we would. I mean, I think any kind of danger of the team not being here was kind of alleviated years ago. And Vanderbeek was a super fan-friendly owner. He was a fan. He did want to win. And despite some of his shortcomings, I thought the Vanderbeek era was, not the best in terms of on ice, but I thought the fan experience was much better. And I think they did want to win despite sucking for a lot of those years. Yo, Stanley 62495 is just fired up right now. Zinger after zinger after zinger. Michael S., this was not the trade I was hoping for. It seemed Fitz is constantly getting caught watching the paint dry on deadline deals. It certainly seems that way. Again, I'm reserving judgment till Friday. 3 more days to make something happen. Chico, people are pissed about the LaChance thing, but you got to consider maybe he gets thrown in as an extra for another trade. He's a free asset, not a bad thing at all, in my opinion. Woodson, I'm willing to bet the Devils are one of the last choices Brady would want to go to. He's thinking that soft-ass team would be so much work. Man. Plus GMs tend to trade with the same GMs. This helps build up a better relationship with Oilers and Bruins front offices. Maybe it leads to Rico and Zaka coming home. Oh, I'm not going to look that much. I'm not going to look that too far into it. I'm still hoping meaningful moves to help us win now are done. Nick, real Guineas know it's called macaroni. Shout out to the macaroni squad. Love me some macaroni. Nothing like Sunday macaronis, Nick. Keeping up with the Devils. Devils called Kane's decline. Stanley, imagine a team competing with you for a playoff berth, not wanting to trade. Shocking. I know. Like, why? You would imagine you didn't even have to make the phone call. I would have imagined the result would have been that as well. Mark says, beating Dallas is out of the question. The Devils cannot beat any of the top-tier Western Conference teams. We'll see. I'm hoping Markey comes out there and stands on his head, and we find a way to score 2 goals. And, score 2 goals and give up 1. That's the recipe to win tonight. Chico, this team is not going to miss the playoffs. I wish I was remotely as optimistic as you. Again, I've felt like it's been a coin flip for a while, and it's literally getting tighter by the day. Brian says, glad to have SST back. You might be the only one, and I didn't let him back. He just made a new name. He made a new name. So, we'll see. We'll see if I ban that one as well. LJ, Devils have a better chance dealing with Lou than getting Carolina to trade Rantanen to us. You're probably right. Dire Straits says, do the poll, playoffs or not? I got to figure out the best way to put a poll up. I think I could do one in YouTube, maybe. All these tech things with you kids. All this tech shit. I'm just an old man trying to talk about hockey, guys. I'm not a tech-savvy, online, whatever you want to call all this junk. Let me see here. Brendan plays. Would you rather add the prime crash line to this team or add any one player from either our past? I don't understand this one, Brendan. Would I rather add the prime crash line to this team or add any one player from either our past or the current league? So this is basically crash line or any player ever. I mean, that's a pretty wide range of things there. Fentanyl. This Rantanen rumor just screams it's a hey, I tried. We'll hear that from Fitz at 3:01 on Friday. Oh, it's not going to be acceptable. Playoffs were lost before Glassman did his annual exit. This team has been rotten for months. Bottom 5, literally. Chico, on the whole Rantanen thing, I think it's more about being a facilitator a la Frederick to Edmonton and nabbing a free asset. Oh, my God. If he's looking to play banker on that, I'm going to be furious. Brian J., if you would have asked me Christmas Day if I thought we'd be where we are, I would have said you're crazy. Fitz got me good. I feel like a fool. Oh, I was at that point, the playoffs were a guarantee in my mind at that point as well. And I think, for most people, they would have thought that. Who would have seen the calendar? Who would have thought that the calendar year of 2025 would have been so awful to the Devils? Terrible. Chico, my brain is fried. Okay, so if he was 20, okay, I got it. My brain hurts, guys. All right, calm down, Husky. It's been a long day. It's been a long week. A long time. Man, 24 minutes to the pregame. I always have to watch the pregame. Some of you were like, who watches the pregame? I always watch it. I can't wait to – I'm going to be furious listening to Sal probably talk about, like, if they talk about this nonsense trade, they're going to be talking it up like, what a move by Fitz. I'm going to break – I don't know how I don't break my TV tonight one way or the other. I might look into getting some of those, some of those TVs are super cheap now. It might feel therapeutic just to smash one after every game. Just go buy like a shitty $40 flat screen and just smash it after every game. Walt, I'm sure Fitz inquired about Mikko, but doubt anyone thought any deal would happen there. Not only a division rival, but the team competing for the same playoff spot not happening. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy. Jason says Jackson, Colorado, wrote he had. Wait, what does that say about he had the where he had the surgery? Well, I think the specialist, whoever the doctor is, probably there, and they're probably going to take a look at it. I'm not looking too much into that situation either until we get the final verdict. But obviously, when it first happened, I thought, season over, and now, since then, I'm just hoping that somehow he would be back for the playoffs if they, in fact, make the playoffs. But it didn't look good in real time. Chico, trades aren't the only thing Fitz can do, though. There are overseas free agents, college free agents, AHLers to call up, hell, even AHL trades he can make. Just anything to find a new player to put into this team. I mean, if he can't make, you think that's going to happen, Chico? Seeing the track record of Fitzgerald, do you believe he's going to start pulling guys from all these other unknown places? If so, you believe in him a lot more than most of us do. Because I don't think any of that's happening. Go Boro says, if Ace owned the team back to East Rutherford and tailgate parties, you damn right. That'd be number one on the docket. Getting the hell out of this. Newark, you could keep Newark. We're going right back to the Meadowlands. I'd renovate that barn real nice. And the tailgates would be oh so beautiful all year long. Forrest, this might be the unpopular opinion, but maybe these guys don't like each other. Think about it. They never stand up for each other. There's division in that locker room. I think you're kind of making something more than it. I don't think that's the case at all. I actually think the locker room likes each other. Most of it, I believe, from the outside looking in. I just think that we have a lot of guys that are content to collect a paycheck and don't really care about winning. I mean, if I had to, as an outside observer and a fan of this team, that's certainly what it seems like. And we don't have the horses to compete at the moment. The bottom six is just dreadful. Antonino, nobody being benched tonight shows none are on the block. Antonino, who do you think on this roster that any team would pay anything for? Only our star players, which we wouldn't trade. Outside of that, the guys that you would be looking to trade, there's no market for them whatsoever. Nobody wants them. So you're not trading any of these guys. Seth, Ace, do you think Keefe was the right choice now? I honestly think he's done admirably given the roster that he has and the bad luck he's been dealt with. Markstrom injured, Nico injured, Jack injured. I can't blame him for the shortcomings of a team that the bottom six reads like an AHL lineup. I don't think any coach is going to be able to get much more out of this group than what Sheldon Keefe has, to be honest. Walter, if Keefe doesn't believe in having McDermott in the lineup, why did Fitzgerald waste the signing? Well, Walter, Fitzy re-signed McDermott before Keefe was brought in. So, I think it was just one of those things where he saw the value in McDermott, he signed him up, and then Keefe came in, and Keefe doesn't like to put that kind of guy in his lineup too often. But I think it's way overdue for McDermott now. We haven't seen him in it feels like forever. Throw him out there and see what happens. The team does seem to respond to his presence, but a lot of people will say, talk about his lack of production and all that stuff. But it's like, look at the rest of the bottom six. What are they really doing? It's not like I'm talking about benching superstar goal scorers to put McDermott in. Swap one of the bottom six guys out for McDermott. Take your pick. SJ, tonight is a big test versus a tough big team. If the Devils somehow win, I'd be very impressed. I think all of us would be. I think we would all be super impressed. Chico, Devils are going to win tonight. Markey is going to let in one goal max. Nicohischier hat trick to remind us that he's about that life. Yeah, that would be something, wouldn't it? Shit. DeSmith confirmed. We obviously made him look very good the last matchup. Ooh, that's a good one. The crumbled sausage and the broccoli Rob. I am more of a red guy, though, than like these, I do like some of those other types of stuff, but I typically go to the red sauce variety or I'm a big vodka guy as well. Rigatoni vodka. Woof. With the cutlet in there. The rigatoni vodka with the chopped up cutlets. Go Boro. Ace, what would your reaction be if Lou said Nelson was... That's never going to happen, but but even if we get Nelson at all, it'll be funny. I'm going to tell everyone that I was the cause of it, but I'm sure Lou doesn't even remember that interaction, at least that part of it. Woodson says McDermott scores as much as Timo. Come on now. Come on now. Chico, regarding that you would rather about past players, I mean, prime Scott Gomez would eat teams alive on this Devils team. I don't know what that's in reference to, but yeah, I mean, Scott Gomez was a great center that was surrounded by veterans. Van Walen, Devs will still make the playoffs, but this Hughes thing going forward should make the organization consider making a move for Rantanen. I have no interest in Rantanen, personally. I think that would be a desperation move. I think he's going to get completely overpaid for what he brings. And I think there's better usage of the money. In a vacuum, would every team love Rantanen? Yes, but at the cost of obtaining him and the cost of signing him, we're not in a position to get him. I think that's it is one of the more ridiculous things I've ever heard. Aside from them being in our division and looking to take their playoff spot, what would we possibly even give them for him? Furthermore, we're in no position to be paying him what he would want beyond this year. And so it would make no sense as a rental. It would make no sense long-term. The whole thing makes no sense. And there's plenty of other guys in free agency that I would rather spend the money on. Dire Straits, Eric Hall has not recorded a point in 29 games yet. It's been a pretty unfortunate kind of stretch for Eric Hall, along with pretty much the rest of the bottom six. And, you can't excuse it anymore. It's just gone on for way too long. For whatever reason, they're just struggling mightily, and it's kind of gross. Michael S., not even Claude Lemieux could straighten these kids out alone. Well, I think a guy like Claude Lemieux would go a long way. That's for damn sure. Chico, if you had asked me on Christmas Day, I would say the Devils were locked to win the Metro and go right to the Eastern Conference Finals. Well, I wouldn't have said to win the division. I would have said to compete for the division, but finish pretty high and go on a run. Woodson says, I like us using all of our LTIR and facilitating deals. We'll need all 7 second rounders in the summer to dump a lot. Man. Louis says the pregame is just one big gambling ad now. To some extent, it is. They talk about, the puck line and the under and the over. It is. Kraft talked about it before, but it is crazy how much gambling has now have its kind of influence on all the professional leagues and how there's dedicated segments and stuff. And it was so taboo before it was legal. Back in the day, I remember when people would refer to a gambling line or there was any reference to gambling, it was like, ooh, he talked about gambling. And now they're just ramming it down your throat 24/7, like nonstop gambling. It's a slippery slope for people that get involved. I know a lot of people messed up their lives. Morgan, Fitz getting a new air freshener for the car while the team has a flat tire. I think that's a pretty good analogy. Oh, my God, there's so many chats in here. My God. You guys this might be the most chatty pregame of all time. Husky says, I'm about the only calm one here, Ace. Why are we on 4 different channels in 7 games? The league, the NHL wants to make it hard on you. You got a ESPN Plus and this and that and TNT. It is annoying to have to navigate all these streaming apps and stuff. Nick, I'm stuck watching games on ESPN Plus. Is there a way to watch pregame out of market? I don't think so. If you have ESPN Plus, I think there's no way to watch it outside of the market. You might be able to sail the seas for sure to maybe find an MSG feed. I haven't even looked. The game is on. Oh, no. Oh, wait. So maybe there is no. I didn't realize tonight was one of these nonsense games. ESPN Plus, Hulu, Disney. Oh, so I guess there is no MSG pregame tonight, right? I don't think so. Did they make mention of that last game? I feel like I didn't. I guess there is no Devils. There's probably no MSG pregame tonight. Walter, what's worse, listening to Sal or listening to Rachel stumble through her thoughts? I kind of like Sal. I don't mind Rachel, but it does seem like I thought, she was just very nervous at first, but it does seem like she messes up quite a bit. Isn't it? And she kind of was set up for failure, I think, because of how beloved by most of the fans Erica Wachter was. I think so. By comparison, it seems like, that she just stumbles a lot. I thought it would wear off, but it doesn't seem like it is. Yeah, Rich, is there a pregame tonight? Game is on ESPN Plus. Yeah, I guess I missed that. I just checked that out. I didn't realize that it was. So I guess there is no MSG pregame, and the pregame must just be a couple minutes of whatever they kind of do on those broadcasts. But it's nothing like the Devils one. Brandon, Pierre LeBrun posted, the news does not sound good, referring to Jack's shoulder. Color me surprised. Terrible. I lost my spot here. Louis says Chico is an optimist to a fault. I think he is super optimistic, but we'll see. Fitz pulling free agents out of everywhere. To his credit, he did try every goalie in the organization last year. Now I disagree with that decision, but he does have a history of digging around. Yeah, digging for what? I mean, where were the other goalies last year? Arnott says, in the words of the great one, Mickey Mouse organization, SST just rebanned himself. Van Whalen says Chico is delusional. Chico says, I'm not delusional. I'm just the only one operating in reality and not full on doom. And Louis says, there's doom, realistic, and optimistic. You are very optimistic. I agree with that. I mean, Chico, at some point you have to start being like, what the hell are we watching here? What is the plan from Fitzgerald? I mean, these are all fair things. Now, I'm not the full dooming people are extreme as well. Mark, as time continues to go on, I go back to my original prediction. Fitz ain't going to do shit. I hope not, man. I hope not. Samuel, exit 16W. Needs 16 wins in the playoffs for the cup. That 16W was karma. Seth says, I'll be the enforcer. I'm 295, 6'3". Holy shit, Seth. That is quite the enforcer. Let's go. Let's go. Van Whalen says, Chico, with Keefe as the coach, you're not seeing this team go anywhere. And Van Whalen, in my opinion, I can't blame it on Keefe whatsoever. He has inherited a roster with a lot of holes. Jem Card says SST just banned himself again. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep banning him at this point. I just can't. I can't deal with it. Get a life, guy. Chico, I've loved what Keefe has done so far to the point where, let's say the nightmare scenario happens and they have to rebuild again. He's the only one I'm keeping. Oh my God. Rebuild is a disgusting word. Disgusting word. Four Devil, apart from Harry Potter wizardry, I can't see Fitz being a successful GM for the Devils anymore, and I still think he had a great offseason. I think I'm kind of with you, Four Devil. He had a great offseason, but in the end, you must perform in season, and I'm fearing the worst. But there's 3 more days. So I'm just gonna wait. I'm just gonna hope and wish. Louis, once again, we hired a head coach and didn't let him hire his own staff. I don't get it. Rogalski especially. Everyone wants to harp on Rogalski. I can't. I mean, our goalies have been great this year, right? So are people going to give Rogalski credit for that? I think that coaches get way too much praise or kind of hate for a lot of stuff. And the goalies have looked awesome this year. So are you going to praise Rogalski for that, Louis? I'm going to say he doesn't make a difference, good, bad, or indifferent. When the goalies sucked, I wasn't blaming him. And I'm certainly not crediting him with the goalies looking great this year. Woodson says it'd be another worthless right winger to further keep Timo away from his natural position. Did you see that guy's some guy posted the deep analytics, the analytics guy that loves to post analytics, and he posted a thing about how it's not any different for Timo on left wing or right wing. It was the most nonsensical shit I've ever seen. Did anybody see that? Fentanyl Floyd says most of this team wouldn't even be claimed on waivers. You're probably right. Mike, I don't know if it's necessarily a divided locker room, but I would put money on them not having the drive to do things to win when it matters. No accountability for not being good enough. And you know why that is? Because they're a losing culture. They're used to losing, and they know a losing culture. Terrible. Brandon says the only thing I know that'll happen tonight is win or lose, we booze. You damn right, Brandon. I would love to drink some victory vodka. Would love some victory vodka. For Devil, keep politics out. Enough garbage in the chat. Yeah, you're not kidding. Big Cheese, make me. We should talk about food instead of hockey. We talk about food pretty often, I think. Keeping up with the Devils, just throw SST in a lab, put him on all 4 lines, all 3 D pairs, and throw Woodson in net backed up by Ace. Oh, man, chicken vodka parm, Michael. Ooh, chicken vodka parm is delicious. Absolutely delicious. They don't hate to lose, Mike. I agree. It just seems like, they're just used to it. Like, we lost another game. Go get them tomorrow, guys. It can't happen. Markstrom was furious. I think it was a Sharks game where he was smashing the stick on the way out. Love to see the fire. Husky Unchained, a lot of Legion of Doom lines in here. Most entertaining Devils channel on the tubes. Stanley says, here's a bet you can't lose. Devils missing the playoffs. I wanted to put it in the other night. I hate betting against the Devils, but as I explained, if I put a couple hundred on it, it wouldn't make me any happier when they lose. But if they didn't make the playoffs, but at least if they did, it'd be like a little something to a little something as a solace. ESPN Plus just uses the local broadcasts. Wait, so are they? I hate all this shit. Yeah, I never know. It's always like, yeah, so it's listed as on NHL.com, ESPN Plus, Hulu, Disney. Yeah, so is there an MSG broadcast then? I don't know. SJ, good news is we have Markey. He's been incredible. Yeah, what a phenomenal addition to the team. That's why I was super jacked when the rumors first came up. I was always a fan of getting Markstrom here, and he's doing exactly what we had hoped he would. And now it's time for the team to score goals. Samuel, gnocchi with peas, pancetta, and a pink sauce. Brandon, no MSG pregame. Isles have MSG SN spot tonight. MSG2 and MSG SN2 are both dark. Are you going by like the guide, though? The guide is wrong a lot, too. It's always like roulette. I always start flipping through the channels. Can I find it? Are they on? Jem Card says Erica had the talent. Don't get the move. MSG didn't want to pay her. Reaper Crew Garage says Jack 4 to 6 weeks. Stanley, Rachel was a low budget hire, but what can you expect broadcasting on your biggest rival's network? Chico, being realistic about the Devils, I see a team that's played largely well. Can't deny the results have not been there, and I've been vocally frustrated by that, but the team is still solid. Stanley says, not being good at your job seems to be prevalent within the organization. Chico, this is where I think we'll see Nico and Timo step way the hell up, and Bratt will continue his quiet consistency. There's enough talent on this team, even if Jack was never born to make the playoffs. I don't know. Chico, the Timo right wing versus left wing thread was actually by a friend of mine. He is in general a very good writer about the Devils, but yeah, that thread was kind of funny because the numbers on right wing were better. Yeah, and again, if you've ever played at any level of hockey, I'm actually a lefty, as is timomeier. The whole concept that it's not an advantage to play right wing is crazy. If you've ever played hockey at all, you understand exactly what it is. Furthermore, as you pointed out, the numbers on right wing were better. And if you ever see Timo get a breakaway or any chance where there's open ice and he kind of has an option of where to go, he always favors the right side. It's clear. So it's obvious he is more comfortable going on the right wing, and they should put him there. But yeah, I thought that thing was dumb. I honestly hate a lot of the analytic stuff that he does, and that one was terrible. Trying to convince people that it's this guy JP, whatever his name is, trying to convince the world that the Timo on the right side is a false narrative with his nonsense numbers. I mean, give me a break, guy. Oh my God. Keeping up with the Devils. I hate the loser mentality of this chat. It's keeping us out of the playoffs. Well, the chat has no impact on the actual team, but it is a losing mentality that seems to be kind of widespread amongst a lot of the fan base. Antonio, Ace, do you feel like you just want to make the playoffs, then turn it on? I've been thinking they just want to blast the playoffs, then turn on the burners. Might be wishful thinking. I definitely think that's wishful thinking. I mean, what we might not even make the playoffs. So what you're waiting to try until the playoffs? Nah, I can't buy it. Winning teams play hard all the time. Chico, Bratt is also the primary playmaker on that line. Jack has done the lion's share of shooting between the two of them. With Jack out, Bratt will shoot more. I don't think he's going to have a choice. Gem Card, the team really doesn't hate to lose. That's why I want our core blown up. SJ, I take Bratt over any player on this team at this point for real. Samuel, you bet and they lose. It pays your booze bill. It's true. Brandon, no MSG broadcast. It's an ESPN broadcast, but exclusively on their streaming platforms. Okay. Man, I'm going to miss Dano. A lot of people hate on Dano. I love Dano on the set. Pasta water is the blood of Italians. Arnott, talking about bets, I'm thinking the Rags go on that run you keep talking about right to the cup. Oh, I certainly hope not. That would make me sick. Keeping up with the Devils, here's my view on Fitz. Not his fault that the team isn't like December, but it's his fault he doesn't do anything about it. Agreed. Mark, if you don't want to listen to the national feed, do what I do. Turn off the sound and turn on Maddie and Chico on the radio. I would do that, but there's no way it matches up, correct? Like, one of them has to be way ahead of the other, I would imagine. Chico says JP is a good guy, though. Love him, good friend of mine. Oh, I'm not saying that he's not. I don't know the guy at all. I've seen a couple of his things, and I think he just, drinks the analytics Kool-Aid juice too much. But I thought that Timo one was terrible. That he, wants to come out and puff his chest out about how, look at me, and you guys are all idiots. And it's like, no, sir, you're the idiot. Watch the game, look at the numbers, and then, to say that the Timo thing was like fake news is crazy. Reaper Crew Garage, computers don't win hockey games. No, they definitely don't. Ace, what do you think of Pesci? Personally, I'm unimpressed. I don't know what you were looking for. I thought he's been solid for this team. I don't think, he was brought in to just be a steady veteran defenseman, and I think he's done just that. I'm trying to see something. Also being forced to play is offhand. It is crazy how many guys we have playing a position or a spot that is not their best position. Like, yeah, he's on the left instead of the right. Dowling is really a center playing left wing. Yeah, it's all just crazy. Chico, but yeah, the analytic mentality of sides don't matter drives me crazy. I'm generally an analytics guy, but sometimes I think it's just taken too far. Obviously, sides matter or handedness wouldn't. Yeah. I don't know why. When I saw that, I was like, oh my God. And then the people regurgitate it. The people that don't know any better are like, yeah, all those people talking about the Timo right wing are idiots. And it's like, no, you're an idiot. And so is the guy that wrote this, but carry on. Carry on, my friends. Louis, what evidence do we have to have faith in this team anymore? Come on, man. I mean, my biggest, I'm hitching my wagon to the Jacob Markstrom hope. Hopefully he could steal games for us and drag us into the playoffs. Spreadsheet junkies have ruined hockey. Yeah, keeping up with the Devils. I'm right there with you. Jacob Markstrom is my faith. Dire Straits. That's why the Devils are probably in this hole too now because of spreadsheets. I think so as well. Samuel and Nico look like a beaten dog in today's interview. I haven't watched any of that stuff yet. Chico, the analytics mentality sometimes puts expected goals over everything, which, yeah, expected goals are nice, but if they don't turn into actual goals, what's the point? I know. And that's why I hate all this stuff. It's like, let's just talk about the actual goals. And I think as far as Timo goes, if I'm not mistaken, it was like he played 16 games at right wing, and I think he had 8 goals, which is like 0.5 goals a game. And then I think he had, what was it, maybe 20 goals in the other 53 games he played or something, which obviously is nowhere near as good as, actual goals per game. But let the people with the analytics carry on. It is nonsense. Louis, I agree. He was the only reason they were winning as much as they were early on in the season, too. They were not playing up to the record at the time. It was Markey. Chico, it's not a defense to go, well, his expected goals this game when they're actually 4% higher and the actual goals are way lower. I know. I was kind of surprised that he put that. Thirst for war. I miss Doc and Chico. I think we all do. Not only did we have legends on the ice and behind the bench all those years for the New Jersey Devils, but we also had legends in the booth. Doc and Chico, one of my favorite tandem ever. I mean, they're like the soundtrack to my childhood while watching the Devils, and what a run it was. Again, spoiled completely from top to bottom. Lou Lamoriello as GM, amazing product on the ice, and Doc and Chico on Sports Channel. Oh, my God. Give me Doc and Chico on Sports Channel right into my veins. Dire Straits, this has always been Devils fans' mentality. The Tom Glitti Fire and Ice blog was full of negativity, and that's when the team was good. I vaguely remember. I didn't write a lot on there, but I would skim it every so often. Paulie Walnuts, speaking of the pregame show, Ace, I'm sure you remember Deb Kaufman. Of course I do. Deb Kaufman, and then was she Deb Placey before or after that? I forget. Stanley, the best game this team played all season was when Jeremy Brodeur and the Baby Devils beat the Rangers in the preseason. That was a fun one. Chico, Pesci's been fantastic. Good defensively, made the blue line tougher in a skilled way. Clearly helped Luke take strides defensively alongside Keefe's efforts. Invaluable experience with the Canes. I agree. I think that's a pretty good synopsis there. Gem card, I believe in Nico and Markstrom. We got the shit. We are the Devils. Keeping up with the Devils. The analytics also say 90% playoffs, which is crazy to me. How is that possible? I don't know how it's possible. Dire Straits, just saying the fan base has always been kind of negative. It's way worse now because the team sucks. I think that's pretty much all sports fans in general. Just negativity runs rampant. And then especially on the internet, we're talking about the internet. Stanley says TG was good people, good times on the blog. Samuel, Doc, and Chico, the soundtrack to championship. Chico, Doc Emmerich was one of the best play-by-play commentators in all of sports, not just hockey. Love and miss that guy every game, not to disparage Kanji or Bill, but it's hard to follow up a GOAT. No, absolutely. Total legend. Legend. Louis says, wasn't she also Deb Wolf at one point? I feel like I kind of remember that too. Deb Placey came after. SJ, that's true. Being offhand on D is more difficult than off wing. Matt and the Maven, oh man. Maddie and Stan Fischler, what a segment that was too. A Chuck the Duck. Chuck the Duck would come on the rope from the ceiling. Whew. Mark says, that's true, but if you either pause the TV or pause the radio, you could get it to line up perfectly. Oh, my. That's interesting. I like to hear other broadcast crews just to get a little different kind of take. But I think in between periods, I'll definitely have to tune in. Yeah, and it's on the on the Devils app, I guess. It's crazy. It's like I do find it so odd that the Devils haven't been on the freaking like regular radio in years. One of my friends was like, "Oh, what channel the Devils on the radio?" I'm like, "Bro, they haven't been on the radio, I don't think, in forever. They're on the app." I guess this is the music they play beforehand on the app. Maddie and Chico. Trevor, Fitz has no options here. He must make a move. We only have another year of Markstrom. If we're lucky, 2 years. Need to make win now moves. No more BS. Couldn't agree more. Don't waste the end of Markstrom's career. Do what you can to put this man in position to steal us a cup. Louis NJ, Chuck the Duck, man, things were more fun in those days. Had Chico eats and stuff too. Yeah, it was awesome. Louis says, no time for that fun stuff anymore. Too many gambling ads. Keeping up with the Devils. Knicks, Devils, Jets have all have been a forever rebuild. Chico, during the 2012 run, I used to mute the TV and listen to Matt and Sherry call the game. Might have to try that again and see if it brings the old magic back. Brian J says this game is going to get ugly tonight. I hope you're wrong. I feel for Markey. You never know. I'm hoping we draw some power plays and we could score on them. That is my hope for tonight. Can we win the game with power play production? And I think it's possible. Got to draw the penalties. All right, that's it, guys. I got a couple things to do before the game here. But thanks for coming out for the pre-pregame live. We got 3 days till the deadline. We'll see if Fitzy does anything. Maybe he doesn't. We're officially a one-line team tonight. We got it all stacked on the top line, baby. All on the top line. Timo, Nico, and Bratter, we trust. Hopefully Markey stands on his head, and hopefully somehow we could win this game. I'll be back after the game, or I guess maybe I'll be back sooner. Maybe I'll be on the post-game live earlier than normal tonight because there is no post-game. We'll see. We'll see how it all plays out. I'll have that up soon, but I'll be back. Hit the thumbs up for your boy, and that's it. I'll be back after the game at some point. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz. Until next time, friends, let's go Devils.